The laughter still rings in my ears sometimes. It wasn't the kind, warm laughter of family enjoying each other's company. It was sharp, edged with something cruel. I just explained why I couldn't help set up for Thanksgiving dinner, how my fibromyalgia was flaring badly that day. My sister-in-law, Jennifer, rolled her eyes and whispered to my brother, loud enough for everyone to hear. Convenient timing as usual. Then came the laughter, spreading around the table like a virus. Even my mother, who knew better, who had seen me on days when I couldn't get out of bed, joined in with a small smile. I sat there, heat rising to my face, pain radiating through my body, and something broke inside me. That was the moment I decided. If my illness was such a joke to them, they could see how funny it was to handle everything without me. I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia 3 years ago, after months of tests, doctor visits, and being told it was all in my head. The constant pain, the bone-deep fatigue, the brain fog, none of it was visible from the outside. I looked fine, normal, healthy even, and that was part of the problem. Before the diagnosis, I was the dependable one in the family. I organized the holidays, planned the gatherings, remembered everyone's birthdays. I was the mediator when conflicts arose, the shoulder to cry on, the one who kept our increasingly scattered family connected. My apartment was the unofficial headquarters for every celebration. My kitchen, the heart of our family traditions. When the symptoms started, I pushed through them at first. The pain in my joints? Probably just overexertion. The crushing fatigue? Just needed more sleep. But as months passed, it became harder to maintain the role I'd always played. I started canceling plans, asking for help, scaling back my responsibilities, and that's when the whispers began. She's just stressed. Maybe she needs therapy. I think she's depressed. Even after the diagnosis came, a real medical condition with a name, the whispers didn't stop. They just changed. My friend's cousin has that, and she still runs marathons. Have you tried yoga? Or cutting out gluten? It's just one of those trendy diagnoses doctors give when they can't figure out what's really wrong. My parents tried to understand in their way. My father would awkwardly pat my shoulder and say, "Hang in there, kiddo." My mother would send me links to miracle cures and alternative treatments. My older brother Michael mostly stayed silent on the subject, though his wife Jennifer had plenty to say. None of it helpful or kind. Only my younger sister Emma seemed to truly get it. She'd come over on my bad days, quietly doing dishes or bringing groceries, never making me feel like a burden. "It's what family does," she'd say simply. Last year's Thanksgiving was at my parents' house, but I was still expected to orchestrate it all. The menu, the seating arrangements, the decorations. I'd been having a good few weeks, so I agreed. But as the day approached, the familiar signs of a flare began. The tender points on my body screaming with the slightest pressure, the exhaustion that sleep couldn't touch, the feeling that my brain was wrapped in cotton. I arrived early that Thursday, as planned, to help with final preparations. My mother was frantic in the kitchen, my father was watching football, and Emma hadn't arrived yet. I started slowly arranging the table settings, each movement careful and deliberate to minimize the pain. "Can you move a little faster?" my mother asked. "Guests will be here in an hour, and we're behind schedule." "I'm trying," I said. "I'm having a bad day." She sighed. "You seem to have a lot of those on important days." The comment stung, but I let it go. By the time the extended family arrived, I was already exhausted, but I pushed through, smiling and making conversation. When it was time to bring out the food, I stayed seated, explaining quietly that I needed to rest a moment before eating. That's when Jennifer made her convenient timing comment. That's when they laughed. That's when I realized how they really saw me, not as someone struggling with a chronic illness, but as someone making excuses. After Thanksgiving, I pulled back. Not dramatically, not with announcements or explanations. I just became less available. I stopped volunteering to host gatherings. I declined invitations when I wasn't feeling well, without offering elaborate justifications. I focused on my health, on the management techniques my doctor had suggested, on building a life that accommodated my limitations rather than fighting against them. Christmas approached, and the family group chat buzzed with questions. Who's hosting? What should everyone bring? What time should we gather? I stayed silent. Rachel? My mother finally texted privately. We're waiting for you to coordinate Christmas like you always do. I can't this year, I replied. My health isn't up to it. But it's tradition, she wrote back. Everyone's counting on you. I stared at the phone, the familiar guilt rising up to choke me. But alongside it was something new. Resentment. Where was this level of concern on Thanksgiving when they'd laughed at my pain? Someone else will need to handle it this year, I wrote. Chaos ensued. My mother volunteered to host, but had no idea how to organize everything. Jennifer complained about last-minute changes. My father stayed out of it entirely. Emma tried to help, but was overwhelmed with her own work deadlines. Christmas dinner was a disaster. The turkey was dry, the sides were cold, the seating arrangements threw feuding relatives together, and no one had thought to check for food allergies. I sat quietly, eating what I could, watching it all unfold. This would have gone better if Rachel had done it, my aunt remarked. Well, Rachel wasn't feeling up to it, Jennifer said, with that same edge in her voice. Again, I set down my fork. You know, Jennifer, fibromyalgia isn't something I invented to get out of family obligations. The table went quiet. I didn't say it was, she replied defensively. But you have to admit, it's convenient how it always acts up around holidays. Convenient? I repeated, my voice surprisingly steady. You think it's convenient that I'm in constant pain? That I have to calculate every activity based on how much energy it will cost me? That I lie awake at night because it hurts too much to sleep? That's not what she meant, my brother interjected, always the peacekeeper. Yes, it is, I said. It's exactly what she meant. What you all think, even if you don't say it as openly as Jennifer does. My mother looked stricken. Rachel, that's not fair. We're trying to understand. Are you? I asked. Because understanding would mean believing me when I tell you I'm in pain. It would mean not laughing when I say I need help. It would mean stepping up without resentment when I can't do everything myself. I stood up, wincing at the movement. I think I'll head home now. Thank you for dinner. After Christmas, the family splintered. Some relatives took my side. Others thought I was being dramatic. My parents were caught in the middle, trying to placate everyone. Emma was firmly in my corner, but she lived 2 hours away and had her own life to manage. I spent New Year's Eve alone, by choice. As midnight approached, I made a resolution that had nothing to do with weight loss or career goals. I would no longer set myself on fire to keep others warm. I would protect my health, even if it meant letting people down, even if it meant letting relationships change or end. When my mother called about planning the annual family reunion in February, I was clear. I can help with ideas and suggestions, but I won't be taking the lead. But you always do it, she said, the familiar refrain. And now I can't, I replied. My health won't allow it. We need you, Rachel. Then believe me when I tell you what I'm capable of. Support me when I set boundaries. Defend me when others make hurtful comments. She was quiet for a moment. I didn't stand up for you at Christmas or Thanksgiving. No, I agreed. You didn't. I didn't want to make a scene. Sometimes scenes need to be made, Mom. Sometimes they're the only way people listen. The reunion was postponed, then canceled entirely. No one else wanted to take on the responsibility. Birthdays came and went with simple cards instead of elaborate celebrations. The family group chat grew quiet. For the first time in years, I wasn't at the center of every family event, solving every problem, smoothing over every conflict. My health improved. Not dramatically, but noticeably. Without the constant stress of meeting others' expectations, I could focus on meeting my own needs. I started gentle yoga, found medications that helped, developed routines that conserved my limited energy. Spring arrived, and with it, my father's 70th birthday. Traditionally, this would have been my domain, a surprise party, a slideshow of memories, a carefully selected gift. Instead, I sent a card and a book I thought he'd enjoy. My mother called, upset. "This is a milestone birthday, Rachel. The whole family is expecting something special." "Then the whole family should plan something special," I said gently. "No one knows how to do it like you do." I closed my eyes, counted to 10. "That's because I've always done it, Mom. But I can't anymore, and that's not going to change. Either someone else steps up, or these big celebrations won't happen. Your illness isn't going to get better if you just give up on life, you know." The comment hit like a physical blow. I haven't given up on life. I've adjusted my life to accommodate my illness, which is exactly what my doctors recommended. Well, your father will be very disappointed. After we hung up, I cried. For the relationships that were changing, for the guilt that still plagued me, for the person I used to be. But beneath the grief was a growing certainty that I was on the right path. My health had to come first, even if others couldn't understand. My father's birthday came and went. My mother put together a small dinner at their house, nothing elaborate, but heartfelt. I attended, brought a cake from his favorite bakery, stayed for 2 hours before politely excusing myself when the pain began to intensify. As I was leaving, my father walked me to the door. "I miss you being the center of everything," he admitted quietly, "but you look better than you have in years." "I feel better," I said. "Still not great, but better." He nodded, squeezing my hand. "I should have stood up for you at Thanksgiving. And Christmas." "Yes," I agreed. "You should have." "I'm sorry." 2 simple words, but they meant everything. "Thank you." Summer brought more changes. Jennifer and Michael separated. Apparently, family events weren't the only place where she made cutting remarks. Emma got engaged and asked me to help plan the wedding. "Only the parts you feel up to, and only as my sister, not as the family coordinator." My mother started seeing a therapist, trying to understand her role in enabling family dynamics that had hurt me. She began standing up to relatives who made comments about my illness, educating herself about fibromyalgia, asking what accommodations would help me participate in family gatherings. Thanksgiving approached again. My mother called, hesitant. "We'd like to host again this year. No pressure for you to do anything but show up, if you feel well enough." "I'd like that," I said. "And Rachel, I've told everyone. Anyone who makes comments about your health isn't welcome. Family supports family, period." When the day arrived, I entered my parents' house with trepidation. The previous Thanksgiving's laughter still echoed in my memory. But the atmosphere was different. My mother had set up a quiet room where anyone could go to rest if needed. The seating arrangements included cushions on my chair, the schedule built-in breaks between dinner and dessert. As we gathered around the table, my mother squeezed my hand. "We're thankful for you," she said simply, "just as you are." I looked around at the faces of my family. Imperfect, learning, trying. Some were missing. Jennifer was gone. A few others had declined when told that mocking illness wasn't tolerated, but those who remained met my eyes with genuine warmth. It's been 2 years since that first painful Thanksgiving. My condition hasn't magically improved. Chronic means forever, after all. But my life has. I've learned that stepping back isn't the same as giving up, that asking for help isn't weakness, that people who mock your pain don't deserve your energy. My family isn't perfect. We still struggle sometimes with old patterns, with expectations, with communication. But something fundamental has shifted. They no longer see my boundaries as rejection or my limitations as excuses. And I no longer see myself as responsible for managing everyone else's emotions and experiences. Last week, Emma called to tell me her wedding plans had become overwhelming. "How did you handle all this family stuff for so many years?" she asked, her voice tired. "Not well," I admitted. "It nearly broke me." "I think I understand you better now," she said. "That understanding, it's all I ever wanted, not pity, not special treatment, just acknowledgement that my experience is real, my limits are real, my pain is real. When illness isn't visible, people often need proof to believe it exists, but I've stopped trying to prove myself. Those who love me believe me without proof. Those who don't, Well, they can handle things without me. And surprisingly, the world keeps turning. Holidays still happen. Family still gathers. Just differently. Just better. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do for others is to step back and let them learn to manage without you. And sometimes the kindest thing you can do for yourself is the same.